take it off the table or pull it back so that everyone else who is enjoying it can still enjoy it while you're not having to um, first. Oh, okay. That being said, we are doing flanking a little bit differently in this campaign. In most of my other campaigns, flanking just gives you advantage. In this one, it's not going to give you advantage. It's going to give you a +2 if 2 people are flanking. If 3 or more people are surrounding an enemy, you guys will get a +5. So there is still a chance that even though you're flanking with your ally over there, you still miss. I just think it adds a little bit more realism to this campaign, and since it's supposed to be a little dark and gritty, I don't want you guys to be so overpowered that nobody has a chance to do damage to you guys. Next bit of business. Um, in other campaigns that I have played in, we have vacillated between if you have a AC that the enemy just hits, the defender will win. In this case, we're not doing that. Not that I had a problem with it because I enjoyed it. But again, I want you guys to always feel like death is one roll away. So we're doing meets it, beats it. The Domains of Dread are a demi plane in the Shadowfell. And each of the domains, at one point in time, were connected to one another. And there is a road that you can travel in to get from Barovia to any and every other domain, with the exception of a few which are islands, and then you have to take boats for that shit. Um, we are going to stay on what is referred to, or was originally referred to, as the core. So most of where we're going to end up visiting is going to be on the main central island where all of these are connected at. Also, because it's in the Shadowfell and it's a demi-plane, magic items are going to be few and far between. That's not to say that you can't find one. It's just they're not going to be handed out like candy. So we're going to take an early morning vote on this one. Do you guys want to start with a magic item or no?
If I may. Um, uh, DM, player, and I have another DM friend, Watu. I don't know if you ever played with Watu, Becky. He was the grumpy dwarven maid. He just started a new campaign, and what he did was minor magic items that were more story oriented. So, say a magnifying glass that I don't know did something cool, I have a compass that points to water. I like that, especially in sort of a low magic campaign, because it gives you something a little bit customized to the character without being like a +5 weapon.
Yeah, so there will be no artifacts, there will be no legendaries, and there will be no very rares. You might come across a rare, you might come across an uncommon. There will definitely be homebrew magic items that work within the story. So one of the domains that we're going to visit is Lamortia, and for you guys who have not researched the Domains of Dread yet, Lamortia is basically Dr. Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And so there will be an item or two that can be found that work within that domain, that play into the whole mad doctor, evil monster kind of thing. Of course, we're going to Barovia, so someone might find like a magical crucifix or something, or a flask of endless holy water. So yeah, there will be some. I'm not saying that there won't be any, but it's definitely not going to be the sort of thing that you would find in Lost Mines or the Dragon Heist or the Rise of Tiamat. These are going to be sort of very specific, very only useful within the domains of Dread. Absolutely.
Go.
Quick.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So you said it wouldn't have advantage on flanking. How does that work with the rogue sneak attack that requires advantage?
The sneak attack actually requires you to be an ally near him as well. So
Only for swashbuckler.
So advantage.
actually, I think it's all of them.
For ranged, you need an ally near you. If it's melee, you still need advantage. So a little bit of a nerf there, I think, but it makes you capitalize on your cunning action high.
No, well, not just that. Not just that. There will be other ways to gain advantage. Like the enemy doesn't realize that he's about to be snuck up by the party. There will be opportunities. I don't want it to be again where you guys, hey, I've got my friend who's 5 feet from you and I'm 5 feet from you, and now I get to do massive damage. These are supposed to be creatures that, for all intent and purposes, are going to scare the fuck out of you, and you're not going to want to get up close and personal to them. But if we have a rogue, I will find a way for them to have advantage. But I am 85% certain we do not have any rogues at the moment.
Hi.
Dude.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a feat too. How'd you get that feat, man?
Well, you can't add the background stuff from character creation, so I had to add it as a feat.
From Yanti?
No. Different background thing.
I see.
All right, give me a second. Give me a second. Because
Uh,
I don't want anyone to feel like someone has an unfair advantage.
I'm
So
cool either way. To answer your question, as a player playing a rogue and another character, looking at that flanking rules, I did kind of go oof. But it does make me think capitalize on that hide and seek advantage other ways or focus on range.
Yeah. So Flynn here, who is going to be playing Dolly, plays a wonderful rogue in my Wednesday morning campaign, and he's constantly hiding. Like, he knows to get advantage, he kind of has to use that hide thing. But give me just a second, because I want to see.
Yeah, because when I was looking up the sneak attack, it says you don't need advantage on the attack roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it.
If you read that first,
Oh.
I think it says for ranged attack.
If you don't have disadvantage on the roll, specifically it says the attack must have a finesse or ranged weapon.
Mm.
So if you have a finesse weapon or ranged, you don't
Okay.
necessarily need advantage. But you can't do it with like a great axe, or you can't do it with a
Yeah.
other weapons. It does need to be a specific type of weapon.
Yeah, like rapier, short sword, dagger. Yeah.
You don't
Okay.
need advantage. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I missed that.
Okay. So going back to the
Yeah, that's it.
feat issue, they're not technically feats like the lucky or anything like that. There is technically no class or race for the hollow hex blood. So think Laudna from Critical Role Season 3. They probably had to do something as well for that to make it an actual playable thing.
She's rules is written Sorlock.
So we agreed, the character and myself.
That's fine. That's okay.
That's how it was going to be.
I'm cool
But yeah,
with it. I was just I was snooping earlier and I went, ooh, how'd that happen?
yeah, that's backstory character. You guys will all learn about that. Hopefully, as long as the character does not die.
Don't you
So-
hit me with another beholder.
I see that wording you're talking about on sneak attack too, and don't mind me if I snap that from my own rogue.
Yeah, and that's the biggest reason my other character, I use that specifically because the wording is weird. If there's another enemy of that target, it doesn't necessarily have to be your ally. It just has to be an enemy of them, which is weird. I've just always been using it as an ally because my ally is their enemy.
Yeah.
Right, but in case of 3 people all fighting each other, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, even if he's not really my friend, kind of deal. So
Even though he's going to stab me in the back in like 5 seconds.
Well, in
Sure.
this instance, you would get your straight attack, but you get sneak attack if it hits. So that's
Yeah.
that's news to me. Excellent, thank you.
mhm.
Yeah, so I missed that. So awesome.
Yeah, it still requires specific weapons. So,
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's
I
fine.
can't. I couldn't choose rogue and then use my warhammer to try and do sneak attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to
That-
be something that you can.
So
use.
so to answer your question, you would get the sneak attack, but you wouldn't get the advantage, I guess, right?
Yeah. I think so, right?
Sure.
You get
Yeah.
you get the +2 flanking, but not a.
Carrying on the sneak attack thread for just a moment, I know there have been a lot of questions for a long while as to if I take an attack of opportunity, do I get sneak attack? Yes, you do. Even if you hit the creature on your turn and used your sneak attack, it does not say, rules is written, does not say one per turn. Right. So you can use sneak attack on your turn. The enemy then moves out of your threatened square. You can take your attack of opportunity as long as you haven't used any other reaction and still get sneak attack if you have.
As long as you satisfy the conditions, right? Where they were within 5 feet of another enemy.
Yes.
Alright.
So that is how we're handling that one. Anyone, and here I know I'm going to hear some complaints, so I'm ready for it as it is. Because the domain thread has limited magic items, most people who go there do not just leave their items behind. For the lucky few who go to the domains of dread and manage to get back out, they probably keep their magic items with them, so they're going to be few and far between. I will let everyone who is originally from a dread domain, which should be, I think, only 3 of you, I will let each one of you take one uncommon or rare item of your choice. For those who come from the material plane or the Feywild, where magic is a little more abundant and magical items are a little easier to find, I will let you take one uncommon and one rare. Yes, I realize I'm giving advantage to the people from the actual material plane. But my thought is, you're 20 or 30 years old, you've probably come across a couple of items. You're taking them into the domain with you, rather than trying to find them in the domain.
I think that actually makes perfect sense, too.
Time to scour the magic item list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to be playing today because we do have at least 2 players that are down that aren't going to be roles coming
Roles here.
into. It's just going to be a lot of talking and discussions and me telling you what to expect, what not to expect. You tell me what you'd like to see and not see, and then we'll go from there. The next thing, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, we are implementing some things from 2nd edition AD&D. And that is the fear chart, the horror chart, and the what was the third one? There's a third.
Madness?
Madness. Thank you. Thank you
Insanity,
very much.
maybe?
No, madness. So fear will be anytime something scares you. Now, I've got the book. It tells me what kind of situations we're looking at. So, a melee user has probably seen some magic, but when you see a new type of magic that completely like makes your brain go, wait, did I just see what I thought I saw? I might call for a fear check. Now, you'll roll me a d20. You guys will never know what your modifiers are. Only I will know, and I will tell you after I see what you've rolled whether you were frightened or not. If you are, you'll then roll a d6, and I will then tell you whether it's just like, I screamed. That's like, you shake off that kind of fear in like 6 seconds. Or is it kind of like, I'm hiding in this corner, please don't come after me? That takes a little longer to shake off. Horror then is the person that you care most about has just transformed into a werewolf in front of you. That's more than scary. And because we're not doing sex scenes, I won't go into the fact that I tormented one of the players by saying that the NPC he was involved with had done that while mid-coitus.
I'm really proud that you just said
Yikes.
mid-coitus on a video that's going to go on YouTube. Congratulations.
You're welcome. And then, of course, the same thing. If you fail the check, I will have you roll to determine how bad the horror is. And there's the madness one. Now, madness is going to be very, very rare. You guys may only ever have to roll once or twice the entire campaign for madness, or you might have to roll quite often if your character fails a lot of checks. And some of the madness ones are the result of failing these checks can be pretty interesting. One of them, which I'm going to talk about now, is you could end up with multiple personalities. Now, warning for anyone who didn't see this on YouTube, I am a person who has dissociative identity disorder, which means I do legitimately have multiple personalities. I'm not using this to make fun of people with mental disorders. I've lived with it for the better part of 30 plus years. But I'm using this as a chance for you as a player who might have failed this check to have a second or third or even fourth character. So when your character gets frightened of, say, that werewolf that you see lurking in the woods, your main character kind of like slips back into its own recesses of his mind, and one of your other personalities who is not afraid of werewolves might come out. Like I said, you might not ever fail that check. You might fail the check. I don't know. But there are some really interesting possibilities for fear, horror, and madness. Now, I'm not going to use insanity simply because from what I've read of the original second edition, the way it's written, getting rid of insanity is pretty difficult, and it takes like years. And while you guys may end up spending years in the domains of dread, some of you your whole entire lives for that matter, the campaign, I don't want it to be where, yeah, we had 6 party members and now we're down to 3 because the other 3 are in insane asylums. So I have tried my best to reason out what would make for a good campaign and what will not make for a good campaign. So that being said, I know that I've listed this in Discord, but we are going to briefly touch them as soon as I find the page. Okay, so as I said, we're going to visit at some point LaGuardia, which is sort of Dr. Frankenstein inspired. we are going to do Barovia, because no Ravenloft Domains of Dread is complete without a visit to Strahd. I literally, I feel like that is a must. You just can't. We are going to go to Tepes, which is Dark Fae. And I think that works well with our Fae character. Kind of getting to see what life might have been like if he had been born on the other side of the material plane than where he was. We are, of course, going to go to Darkon and the Necropolis. We are going to try to find where our missing Lich Lord is. We may or may not, I haven't decided quite yet, may end up going to Mordant as well. And Mordant is lots of ghosts and restless spirits. I think any good horror story needs to have ghosts. So it's very possible that we will end up there. Our story is going to start next week in the second smallest, as far as I'm aware, one of the top 3 for certain, smallest Dread domain, and that is the Vague Agency.
Single room.
Which, yeah, may or may not exist. We will also be going to the smallest one, which is Algareth, which, for those who don't know what that is, it is the hilt stone of a dagger. The entire domain is within that one stone. But that one also connects to one of our characters. So I'm trying to give us places where all of our characters have a reason to go or be. We are going to go to Arak, the former domain ruled by Drow. Drow are one of my favorite races, so when it was suggested, I knew I had to go there. And this one only came to me this morning. So before I tell you what it is, let me tell you a little bit about one of my favorite campaigns recently. I was in a campaign where my character and her party had to travel to a place they had never been before. And they had to hunt down a specific item to rescue a specific NPC. And my character died. Once before she got sent to this new realm, and once while she was in that realm. And we're talking about the realm of Prismeer. Now, I love the Witchlight Carnival. However, I thought to myself, what would have happened if Isolde and Mr. Witch and Mr. Light hadn't traded places? And so we are going to go to the carnival. Maybe not to quest and find stuff. Maybe it's sort of a in-between traveling thing. But second edition carnival had probably 20 or 30 very unique freak show side attraction characters. And as I was reading over these, I'm like, yes, this is a place we must go. So, for those of you who have seen Mr. Light being these wonderful parents to a half-elf bard, be prepared to see what they're like as domain dreadlords.
Well, yeah,
So-
anyone who isn't their kid, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
I
with
mean,
that being said, and most of my housekeeping information out of the way, I want to make this both fun and scary. Now, I'm not the best at horror, but I have two brothers who are very good at horror. So every week I will be consulting with them, running ideas past them, and letting them help me make this the scariest campaign that I can.
Heck yeah.
If there are any things that you guys are afraid of that you don't want to see in the campaign, now is the time to say, hey, I am deathly afraid of snakes. Please no giant constrictors. Or I know that Corbin's player is not a fan of spiders, but drows are kind of, worshiping a giant spider queen. So there are going to be spiders. I can't not have that if we're going to go to Eric.
Which is the
So-
uncomfortable part, because I voted for Eric, and at the same time, I hardline spiders. So, like, awkward.
You backed yourself into a corner there.
Face your fears, man.
I could deal. I could deal.
Also remember that your fears are not your character's fears, because you are not your character. While you may put a lot of your heart and personality into your characters, and I know I certainly do, Tempest is a complete direct reflection of who I am in the real world. Other than the fact that I can't do magic. She is embodiment of who Becky is. But her fears and my fears are completely different. And one of her flaws was she was always looking for the right one, looking for that beautiful person to be with. And in me, I'd much rather have someone that looks like Danny DeVito and is funny over someone who looks like Brad Pitt and is a douchebag. So that's kind of how we differed.
Wisdom.
Yes. Anyway, so is there anything that anyone is afraid of that they're just like, I'd rather not see it in this campaign? I know a lot of you guys have said I'm okay with everything, but now that you guys are like actively knowing, I will throw random shit in there. Is there anything you guys really don't want to see?
I already marked it on my list, but I'll just say it here. It's like I would really rather not see like anything with children or animals. Those like really disturb me.
Okay.
I think that's pretty fair. And anything, I'm okay with allusions to that kind of thing, but we don't need to go into detail
Right.
about the child killing.
Right. Okay. I agree with that.
I was
Um,
and I'm okay
okay.
with everything. Let's keep the sex off screen. I'm okay with everything else.
right.
I'm feeling with that.
I mean, gory torture is something that I don't really like either.
There's a line there, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, someone telling you that the lord of this particular domain has slaughtered X number of people to feed the land, as long as it's only in story is fine. You just don't want to see it played out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Got it. Okay. All right. Unless there's anything else, what is it that you guys hope to get from this campaign other than a few hours each week of friendship and camaraderie?
My character is shaping up to be a truth seeker and a
Okay.
secret finder outer, which
Mhm.
seems to align really well with a group full of people with secrets.
They are my
Yeah.
secrets.
Hey,
So that's a
my
that's a
secrets are for
character
me.
thing.
Okay.
My character does specifically want to try and rid the world of one specific wizard.
Do I have that wizard's name?
He's listed as a backstory as my personal enemy.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Perfect. I know that Dragon has his list of what he wants to do, so that has been easy to be like, okay, this is how we can get to these things. He does know that one of his lists is never going to happen for him.
The irony in making that list and then finding out that there's something wrong with it because it's already a plot point.
Oh yeah, it's a major plot point. Anyway,
Just making a random list, like, oh, this will work. Oh, wait, that's a plot point. Oh,
That's something we can't do.
That's how you know you're on
I
the right
can't change
track.
this now.
You're like, yeah, this is a good thing. We're gonna investigate this just on the DM's time, not mine.
yeah, well, only one of you, as far as I know, knows who the final BBEG is. And I'm going to try to keep it that way so that only that person knows going forward. But only one of you guys knows who has started this whole event into motion as well. So two of you guys have really big secrets out of character that only your characters will. So that being said, if there is nothing anyone else wishes to discuss, I am sorry that we didn't actually get to play today, but I'd rather have everyone on the same page when we first start this before, jumping right in and then them being like, oh, wait, what happened here? And then being lost. So we will not be playing a game session after this. But if you guys have not yet, I would suggest make sure that I have all of your tokens before next week. And this little page, I don't know if you guys can even see it on Roll20, is where you start.
Yes, the agency, the black and white agency.
Yes.
Mhm.
And this right here, this
Lower up.
beautiful,
Make her big. There you go.
that woman right there is the person who's going to give you your first quest to do something.
That dame seems like a familiar face to me. I don't know how I feel about that one. I haven't locked it down. I'm trying to get the transatlantic accent, but it's weird. It's hard to do.
Are you gonna be pulling a fairy this campaign?
I am Nick Valentine. I am Gregory Holmes, the Warforged detective. So I am a Nor detective, black and white, trench coat, fedora, whole 9 yards. But I'm trying to get that accent on lock. It's tough. It's a hard.
You're
Nah,
looking for this thing,
you're gonna be
see?
floating
We don't want any trouble, see?
I always
floating
mess
around
up
the
my
accent
accent.
like I was.
I always mess up my accent.
Don't
Uh,
really
you know.
know why.
At least,
Theo, that's
Fine.
mafia.
I'm British half the time.
at least you can do accents. I still can't. Anyway,
know.
so very quickly, out of character, we have a tiefling bard. We have a fairy cleric, which is going to be amazing, I'm sure. We've got the Warforged detective.
Artificer.
Beautiful artificer. I love that. We have a human fighter who I know one of his secrets.
I may
We-
too.
We have the Hexblood Yuan-Ti rogue. And then we have, I think he's elf? We'll find out.
Warlock.
The warlock.
Oh yeah. Also, could I get a character sheet on Roll20?
Yeah, I will get all that done. I had planned on it, and then people are like, oh, I'm going to be late. I'm not going to be there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to rush to make sure everything is done because we're not going to be playing. But yes, I will have that done here in probably the next half hour.
I wouldn't say OCD, but I spend a lot of time on Roll20, a lot of time on D&D Beyond. I encourage all of you guys, half of you I don't know, to fill out your description on D&D
Yep.
Beyond Notes and
Already did it.
paste that into Roll20 so we can see at a glance what your character looks like. In case I want to do a commission at some point. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really, really good idea, and I fully support that. Anyway, so thank you guys for being here at session 0 and finding out about all of the things that are possible to happen. And I hope none of you guys go mad, but if you do end up going mad, at least you were in a good place. Everyone else is mad here.
Oh man.
So, all right. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you guys throughout the week. Some of you guys I actually DM for on Wednesday, so I'll see you guys Wednesday. And for those I don't, I will see you guys Thursday for our first official game of the Domains of Dread. Bye.
Good to hear a couple of your voices again. Becky, Sabal, good to see you guys again. 3 new folks, nice to meet you. See you guys next week.
All right. Laters.
Later.
Guys,
Bye-bye.
you guys all gotta get mics and not mics, sorry, camera. I see a bunch of nice art, but I don't see any pretty faces.
Wait.
Wait.
Oh.
What?
Ah, there it is! Ah,
I've never
yes!
used one of those on me.
Now.
Purple? Nice, nice.
That's a better one.
Anyway, just wanted to razz you up, is all.
So yeah, I sometimes will have my mic on or my camera on and not even realize it, and sometimes I do it on purpose. But yeah, recently after my trip to Nevada, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do purple hair, and so we've got purple going on with some red. It's kind of it's dark in here, so you can't really tell, but it is sort of rainbow in color there.
It's rich, it pops, it looks good.
Thank you. All right. Anyway, again, I will see you all later. If anyone has any questions, concerns, comments, my DMs are always open. And don't feel like you're bothering me. Probably not. Bye.
Later.